What's happening, family? It is your man, Courtney Robert Brown Jr. here at Big Boss Filmworks. We are happy, proud, excited, and privileged again to have a true Detroit legend, a man who has seen and lived pretty much it all when it comes to this thing, this street life thing, this player thing that we talk about and that's all over the internet right now. And that is Mr. Tommy Sharp, but better known in these parts as Black Butch, a.k.a. the Black Dispatch. How you doing today, huh?
I'm doing pretty fair.
Good, good, good. So while we got an opportunity, and, you know, again, I thank Butch for finding some time. You know, it's been so much stuff. My brother has been screaming out his name, and this Feds magazine, you know, marking the 10-year anniversary when this all started. You know, Butch had some photos and some insights, there's pictures in here of him and Eddie in London, him and Eddie in Disney World, him with Charlie Moore. And this was kind of the first public thing where the world began to get to know about Butch. Unc, you know, I know after you had some health issues, a stroke and all, so we really appreciate, you know, you coming and finding some time to really let the world know firsthand. Again, you know, you spent every day with Eddie from what,
from 69 up until the time he when he violated his bond. That was in 76.
Okay, so you know, we know, you know. I know I've told some stories that, you know, I've known, you know, I don't remember ever not knowing you, and I know Eddie Jr. don't ever remember not knowing you. And you've told both of us stories, and we've heard stories from my father and from, you know, all the other guys in the streets. So if any story we even said and we got some of the details right, you know, we were never trying to speak inaccurately. It's just we were young when we heard the story. So anything you can clear up that I ever said or anybody out there ever said, make sure you make a point to do that. So we're going to get started. We know that Eddie was dealing with the Gambino crime family, you know, with that French Connection move. So why don't we start there, man? And because that's an interesting story that I've heard bits and pieces, and I've heard it from my father's perspective, but I believe I'll try to set up and you take it from there. Eddie was having a disagreement with the Gambinos, and talk about the level of respect they had for Eddie and why they respected him in the way they didn't, because I think you had to go up to New York and straighten it out, didn't you?
Yes, I was the one that went. And like I said, you understand, they respected Eddie and me because I was the one dealing with him. And the reason why they respected him so much, because on the level, dealing with them, most people that you're dealing with people on that level, they be yes men. But Eddie never was no yes man, because he always felt like when you spending your money, you got to have some kind of say-so about something if it's not right. And that's the reason why they respected him so much, because of that. And he always came with cash money. And we had a disagreement one particular year where Eddie felt like they was overcharging him. I think about 10,000 more on a key. And he felt like, you understand, if they couldn't drop the price, he sent me up there. You know, he asked Courtney to go. Courtney told Eddie, he said, man, he said, I'm not going to go up there fucking with them. He said, well, I'm going to get Black Butch to go. And he said, you and Black Butch going to fuck around and get all us killed. And, you know, so I went up there. So I went and met him, you understand, we used to meet him at the Chinese restaurant. And so when I went there, he was about the guy, Doc, that was the one, you understand, he was dealing with. He had about 4 or 5 guys with him. So when I met him, he told me to come on, walk with us, Black Butch. I said, all right. So we went to walking and talking, you understand. And I looked up, you understand, they was going in the back of the Chinese restaurant, you know, because one while I thought, you understand, they might have been the owner of it or some kind of interest or something. So when I went to telling him about Eddie, you understand, he didn't feel right that they was overcharging him. And he told me to tell him that he's going out west to see if he can get a better deal. And so he told him, you understand, you tell that fat motherfucker, you understand, if he don't get his ass back here, he gonna have problems, because he should know how long our arms is. And when I told Doc that, I said, Doc, I'm gonna let you know, you understand now. I'm not telling you this. Eddie asked me to tell you. He went to laugh and he said, that's the reason why I'm crazy. That's why I'm so crazy about y'all two. That fat motherfucker and your black ass. And so, you understand, we went on after that, you understand, that problem was solved. And like I say, you understand, dealing with them people, you understand, every time that I would go up there and cop, the product would be the same. Every time, you understand? And that right there, you understand, is a problem, you understand, dealing with people, you understand, as far as now. Because when you go cop, you understand, you go back the next time, it's a different thing, you understand? That's when you understand, you can't make money like that, because when you don't know what you're dealing with. And then now, you understand, it ain't no hair on anyway, ain't nothing but fit now. So like I say, it's a difference dealing with the family, And anytime we had a problem, they would ask us if we had problems, you understand, because we did, they would straighten it out. But like I said before, we didn't really have no problems because they knew, they had an idea just about who we was dealing with.
What's happening, family? It's your man, Courtney Robert Brown Jr., still live, West Africa, Dakar, Senegal. We're here to talk about a little bit today, which was our follow-up project after we had came out with the award-winning book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. I don't know if everyone knows, we actually did another book that wasn't related to the story of my father and Eddie, and that was Mind Right, Money Right. It was kind of our way of giving back. I wanted to share some of the insights and some things that allowed me to have the business success I've had and how that came from. Because it's all about exposure, family. When you think bigger, when you've seen bigger, you think bigger. When you know better, you do better. So as I'm sitting here in West Africa, chapter 1 in this book is called When We Were Kings. And I don't know, for you, a lot of people out there, family, may not know that by academia, by schooling, I am a historian. So I've always had a great interest in where I am, where I come from, and what I'm about. In fact, just recently, I took that Ancestry.com test. They send you a little kit, and you send them a little saliva sample, and they can actually tell you, family, where you come from here. So, like, I'm 60% Nigerian, a little bit from Ghana, a little bit from what is now Angola. So, because I think, we talk about in this chapter, When We Were Kings, if we understood that every African American has a cousin and family member here on the continent of Africa, likely in South America, if the brothers and sisters here in Africa understood that they got cousins, we'd put this thing together and we'd be getting money together. And once we figure out that whether you're in South Carolina or Senegal, where I'm at, we're all in the same boat together. So, I was reviewing the book, When We Were Kings. We talk about the black man, Massa Musa, was the richest man that the world has ever known. And that's according to Forbes magazine, right? So if you're not hip on Massa Musa, Google up that name. His empire was right here where I'm sitting now. And just to kind of inspire you, because it wasn't that long ago that a black man was king of this land and controlled the world's controlled the world's gold, silver, salt, and was regarded as, he was the richest man of his time and the richest man the world has ever known. And if we understood that we come from kings, that's not just something that the Hotep brothers and sisters be saying, but it's the truth. So we can all do a little bit better. But in these times we live now, man, with all this going on, this George Floyd thing, the police shooting us, the things and struggles that's going over here on the continent, and really just we of people of color all over the world, the situation we find ourselves in. Give this book a read, man. I'm not just saying as a plug. In fact, I think I'm going to do a little promotion when I get back, really make it accessible. It'll give you some real insights, really be able to connect the dots. So that's Getting Off Zero, named after brother Ray Tatum's company down in Atlanta. We hooked up about, that was in 07, and Big Boss Filmworks and Getting Off Zero have been doing business together ever since. And our theory is simply this, brothers and sisters. If you get your mind right, you'll get your money right. And once you get your money right, you can come enjoy some of this beautiful thing that we call planet Earth. So holla at your man. Again, 10-year anniversary Big Boss Filmworks. We are really, really happy and proud. We thank you guys so much. Check out our catalog. Getting off zero, mind right, money right. You want more of the real intel, detailed stories on how Pops and Eddie Jackson, the Fat Man, put it down in the 70s. Pick up the book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of Kingpin's Kid. You got Amazon. Check out the doc, Motown Mafia, the story of Eddie Jackson and Courtney Brown. And also, our newest works, Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus. Give us a shout. 10-year anniversary, Big Boss Filmworks, BigBossFilmworks.com. Salute, peace, and thank you all. I'm out.
Me and Eddie been throwing away so much cocaine, being too high. Think everybody that's walking around us think it's the police. I mean, I done throw keys away. I'm talking about in the process of us getting high. That is a dangerous position to be in when a person getting high. I'm talking about being so high and not getting no rest. That's dangerous. And me and Eddie used to understand just ride for days, just getting high, partying. And like I say, we used to ride at night, you understand? Now, you know, at night, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, there ain't gonna be no whole lot of people out there driving. Most of the police and cab drivers at that particular time. And every time he would see a cab or the police, but most of the cabs, he go to talking about they following us. And so a couple of times, you know, he had his brother Lodge was buried at the grave at the cemetery on a Gratiot at 13 Mile. And we done found ourselves out there at the cemetery 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because he got so goddamn paranoid that he would just pull up in the cemetery talking about, ain't nobody gonna follow us now. I said, no goddamn way. They ain't having no funeral this time of night. You know, so I'm just saying we done been in a whole lot of different situations being high. And like I say, thank God that we made it as long as we did, you know, because we was too crazy getting money and just was having nothing but fun, you know.
And when this is going on, how old are you about?
And like I say, I started when I was about 18. Like I say, can you imagine a person working at a gas station? And in 2 years after that, you're seeing you handling millions, you can imagine what kind of fool I was, you know. But like I said, one thing I learned about making money, you're supposed to make the money. You ain't supposed to let the money make you. And that's one thing I learned about Eddie. See, money control a lot of guys that's hustling and this and that and another. And like I say, you understand, you got to control the money because the money will control you.
And you guys were in Vegas about once the word got out, you guys were in Vegas. You was on the radar with the hookers, with the showgirls, with the cabbies, with the.
Whenever we reached Vegas, I don't know how in the hell they found out, but if they find out that one of the crew with Eddie, everybody hustling be trying to find out where we at. And like I say, everything was free. And we were staying at the Aladdin Casino, like I say, that's the one where the Goldfire Agency, I think they owned it. Yes. But like I say, we didn't have to pay for nothing but phone calls because they know we was gonna lose a lot of money or win, and which we have won sometimes, but most of the time we will lose. You know.
Chuck Goldfire actually went to jail from hiding his interest in
Aladdin Casino, right?
That's a fact.
Yeah, but when we first started going to Vegas, we started off at before we got hooked up with Goldfire, we was going to the Thunderbird. That was a little casino that was on the strip.
Okay. All right. Now, through my brother's situation and some other people, you obviously you young, you was a good-looking young guy, you handling millions of dollars. You came across beautiful women on a regular basis. But just so we can straighten it out, the woman who played Thelma on Good Times.
Well, like I say, Joe
Where'd
Pep.
you guys meet? How'd you guys meet?
Joe Pep, he was the leader of the Undisputed Truth. And back during that time, he used to be entertaining every weekend at the 20 Grand, Ben High Chaparral, those were the two main places, you understand, we used to go where the entertainers used to come. I mean, every weekend. So like I say, that's how we was mingling with a lot of entertainers. You know, I can't name half.
So we know Thelma from Good Times. You guys hung out.
Thelma came to Club Juanita's when me and Otis had it back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, I think it was 80s and 90s. I got pictures of her that we I had with her, you understand?
Shaka Khan came across, y'all hung out with.
Yeah, like I said, Joe Pep, you understand, introduced to a lot of people, you know. And then being going to the 20 grand, Betty Porter was the head barmaid down there, so she knows a lot of people, and she still do. You know, she was very close to us too. Betty was, you know.
Just saw Betty not too long ago, and she was speaking highly of you again.
Yeah, like I say, she's a sweet person, you understand. Betty, you understand, was close to me and Eddie. She really is, you know. But like I say, like Stanley's Chinese restaurant used to be on Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That was one of our main spot where we used to go and eat. And me and Eddie and Courtney we used to date a lot of girls that was working there. You understand? Because they used to have some nice looking girls down there. And Charlie Moe is me and Henry Aid. He had a girl that he was fucking with down there. Her name was Ada. She did now. That's the young lady that was bringing her money to me and Eddie when we was across seas. She was the one that had the passport that would bring us money when we needed it.
Wow. So when you guys would run out of money in Europe or in South America, that's who would actually bring you
That's who would bring it to her, Ada.
Otis Stanley, you know, around this town, people just kind of know Otis by that name. There was a guy in the late 80s, early 90s that was doing some big things. You know, and Otis, God rest his soul, was close to all of us. But you and Otis was basically, what a lot of people don't know, I think, is that you and Otis were like partners.
We was partners.
Tell us how you met Otis and how all that came out.
I met Otis through this guy by the name of G.
Okay.
That had the club Now.
Right there on Jefferson.
On Jefferson. That's how I met Otis. And me and Otis got to be real close. Me and him had the same relationship that me and Eddie had it. And like I said, I ended up getting indicted in 1999. When I got indicted, you understand, Otis, you understand, was still doing his thing. That's what I was really worried about when he went to jail, when I went to jail, because I was the one handling all the business in the street, because we had the club, Juanita's, and we had the club down in the Fisher Building, club upscale. And like I said, you understand, you know, and he ended up getting killed while I was in jail. He got killed on Davidson and Woodward. And like I say, I missed him very much, because like I say, Otis, you understand, he was close to my family like I was close to his. And that's all I got to say about that.
Hell of a guy, though, right? Now,
Yeah,
I had the pleasure of knowing Otis, too, a really hell of a guy, and also a legend around these streets. And I just wanted to clear that up, because I know a lot of people know that, but I don't think a lot of people who follow this kind of thing knew really how close you and Otis really were.
Yeah, like I say, you know, when I ended up going to jail, a lot of guys was jealous of our relationship. And that's when they got to be close, got to be kind of close to him. And some of the guys that was around him, they were nothing but snakes. I don't want to call no names, but some of them just saying was real snakes.
Okay.
You know?
Let's back up. Big Man go away. My father, 5-0, Rudolph, the whole crew go away in 76 and 77. You really the only member of the crew, because, you know, as we discussed, you didn't get indicted. Because you was a minor when the indictment was even going down. He was only 17. But okay, there was a big guy, I think, out of California, Ernest Jackson. You mentioned that.
Yes.
And so once Eddie and them in jail, what's happening with you now?
So I stayed out of the way for a while. So I was close to a lot of guys in the streets from the late 60s up until now. And so when I got back in the street, you understand, I was with my boy. I can't mention, his name was Big Butch. He had a brother named Watusi. Butch is the one that had to connect because Ernest and Butch is from Bessemer, Alabama. I was from Selma. But like I said, me and Butch was real close. And so Butch didn't really know too much about heroin. So I really showed him how to, to cut the stuff, all that. And so when I did that, I forgot what happened between him and Ernest. But he introduced me to Ernest. At least Ernest was looking for me. And so me and him got to be real close. So I come to find out, Ernest was dealing with a lot of guys on the west side. George Hall, that's a few others. Hollywood, most of the west side guys that he was dealing with, and some guys on the east side. But I got to be real close to him. And so I started copying from him. And he was sending my drugs through the mail. And I'm going to get to the other story. My mother.
Yeah.
My
please,
mother, had a lot to do. My mother had a lot to do with my father's Eddie, me and Eddie. He was close. My mother was close to Eddie. Eddie was close to her. There wasn't nothing in the world that he would do for my mother. He was trying to make my mother, buy a house for her. She didn't want to move. How some old people just, sit in their ways. They just don't want to move. She was staying down the street from the Fox Theater. This is where I ended up buying some property down there. And but anyway, Ernest used to send the drugs to my mama. And then when he sent them to me, she would call me and I'd come get it. But backing up with my mother, was one of the stash house for Eddie. Eddie, used to bring her money. She didn't do nothing but hold money for Eddie. I'm talking about he would bring, $100,000, $200,000, It was a lot of spots where he was hiding money. It was few spots where I didn't even know where he was hiding. But my mother used to keep a lot of money for Eddie. And a whole lot of things she used to do for him, She would feed him or whatever, He was just close to my mama because everybody was close to my mama.
It was kind of became a hangout spot, or a lot of the hustlers knew your mom was good people,
right,
and would come through there.
And they would hang around there waiting, because they know sooner or later one of us gonna come through there, me or Eddie. So they would be hanging all at the bar on the corner with this purple onion. That was right next door for my mother. So like I said, my mother had a lot to do with the organization. She really did. With a lot of guys, that was handling big money. I mean, all across country. When she died, it was a hell of a funeral, You would think, a hell of a hustler and died. Well, she was a hustler, but, being the age she was. And my mother, was a sweet person. And Donna Jean was close. She was another person. I haven't mentioned her name yet, but Donna Jean was close. Me and her and Eddie, we was the one together most of the time. Donna Jean, and she was a stand-up person. She really was. At that time when she was younger, she was a motherfucker. She didn't take no shit, but Donna Jean was a good person too, She went through a lot. She really had.
She's one of the first playmates, Playboy Bunny
Yes, she was,
right?
Yeah, we was over in Paris one time, and we was walking down the street, was going to the club, and somebody seen Donna Jean and recognized her from the Playboy Club.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Seen it all there. So just again, I was going to finish
tell you about you, Eddie, and my son Pease.
Okay.
Ever since y'all was kids, I done told y'all stories all y'all lives, and y'all haven't heard a lot of them in a long time. But I know 80% of the stories that you and Eddie have brought up, 80% of them are true. Y'all might make a mistake and forget people's names, not remembering their name, but 80% of the stuff that y'all have said about Eddie and us was true.
Yeah, so, and that's why we fortunate, because just to be clear, you guys' story don't need no extra hype. Y'all was the biggest thing this city ever has seen or probably ever will see. Y'all done traveled the world. Y'all done did the Vegas thing. Y'all done did the Europe thing. It's true, y'all was young black men in the 70s handling millions and millions of dollars and kilos upon kilos of kilos. So, yeah, we don't have to try to glorify or add nothing to the legend of Black Butch, the legend of Eddie Jackson, legend of Courtney Brown. Now, you guys' legend speak for itself. So.
And another story, as far as the police back then, they was money on. I mean, it was a few crews around there that know who was getting money, and they was spending most of their time trying to catch certain people to catch them with the money. I know a couple of times where they caught Al Fitch coming out of the restaurant with over 100,000.
And what happened?
And they took the money.
Ooh.
And then they went to try to proposition him, you understand, where if you're going to continue to do something, you got to pay us so much. 5-0 was the only one. And Charles Rudolph, I would say Charles Rudolph, I ain't never known him to do that. But 5-0, they didn't have nothing coming. And then at certain shifts that we couldn't even come in the neighborhood that we didn't want to be harassed. But they caught me one night on Chrysler, I think it was Erskine, and they caught me one night, you understand, and told me, you understand, where's the big man? I said, I don't know who you talking about. They said, you know who we talking about. And they grabbed me, man, they took the sewer, the top over the sewer, you understand, and they had me hanging down in there and told me, before they put me down there, they told me, if you don't have that fat motherfucker bring us $100,000, then he ain't gonna see your ass no more. I made a phone call, you understand? The money was there, you understand, within 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, you understand, they, you understand, want to try to make a deal as far as want to get money, which, you understand, we had to deal with. I was meeting them at the Eastern Market every Saturday, getting when they cut.
Well, but let's go over that again. They basically held you hostage, put you in a sewer, and demanded $100,000 ransom for your release.
That's right.
And he got the money down to him right away.
Yeah. And then after that, you understand, we started paying them every week because they know how much money, they thought they knew how much money was making, but they found out, you understand, I guess from somebody, which I know was somebody snitching, how much we really was getting. And then in particular, one day, when they found that out, they raided the joint, took the drugs, and called us, and we had to go and buy the drugs back.
From the police.
From the police. And this is true.
It was a story we was just talking about to show that, you know, a lot of y'all in the crew was ahead of your time. Talk about Zach Garrett, 5-0's brother.
Yeah. The Garrett brothers, all of them was some money getting motherfuckers. But like I say, they all grew up with the crew, like Eddie, Courtney, all us growed up together. I was the youngest out of all of them. 5-0, you understand, bought some buildings down there in Brush Park like I did. Zach, you understand, he bought a lot of used Greyhound buses, and they was in good shape. And he would, you understand, make trips, you understand, for all the people in the Brewster projects. He would have took them on different trips and shit in the summertime. And then he had invested some money in the Bahama Airlines.
Wow.
And that was in the paper, you understand? I don't know what happened. It was some kind of scheme or somebody. He had invested money in the Bahama Airlines.
And that's in the 70s.
That was in the 70s. That was in the 70s. And Junior Garrett, you understand, he had a recording company on 8 Mile. When he had, I think, the Dramatics and a few other groups. I'm not remember exactly what groups it was that, and the Temptations at a particular time, they was giving shows and stuff. Zach and Junior. Junior ended up, you understand, crossing one of his connects. And they tricked him down in Florida. He was him and his woman. And ain't nobody ever seen him since.
Wow. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, that was impressive. I mean, a lot of the crew, I mean, obviously Eddie had a big real estate portfolio, but a lot of the crew, a lot of y'all was buying real estate and had some legitimate businesses.
A lot of it. Really did. Like people talking about who's big fella and all that. It's a lot of guys that was getting big money, like I said. I'm talking about the kind of money you wouldn't even believe. But like I say, think back in the past, think about the people that didn't move from Detroit. And like Frank Matthews, Nicky Bonds, yeah, I haven't mentioned his name, Ike Atkinson. They called him Sergeant Smack. he was the one, you understand, was really behind the big fella for Frank Lucas. You understand? He was the one that was smuggling it in from Vietnam, from Vietnam, you understand, in the bodies. That's how, you understand, Frank Lucas was getting all his money. But me, myself, I think Frank Matthews was getting more money than all of them. That's my opinion. But Eddie, if he would have had them, he wasn't far behind because of what we was doing. Like I said, you multiply it for yourself.
Nicky Barnes, now that you brought it back up, you and Nicky did cross paths because what caused y'all to have to cross paths?
I think it was 74 when they had that boat strike.
Yeah.
Eddie, you understand, had sent me up there in New York to tell the family that, man, when this strike is over, man, I want to at least just get my drugs about at least 2 or 3 weeks ahead of everybody else. And they did it for Eddie because we was getting plenty of it. And so this is when we started just distributing the dope other states. That's when me and Eddie started just we came in contact with Nicky Barnes. But we was all on the East Coast, Indiana, Minnesota, all down south. And me and Peter Gunn was staying on the road, you understand, for weeks at a time. So I can't even say how much money that we was getting, you know?
And you mentioned you knew Marzette.
Yeah, I know Marzette, you understand? I ain't never did no business, but I know him. Mm-hmm.
And then his man was supposed to be Claxton again.
John Claxton?
Claxton, yeah.
They said it was, and I don't know for sure. But I know, you understand, at that time, John Claxton, you understand, he was the biggest thing around before he went to jail, you know.
And then disappeared.
Yeah, because he ended up getting a case after he got out of jail, you know, being hard-headed, you know. And Frank Matthews and John Claxton, the only 2 guys that ever no jump bond, and they ain't never been found since.
Wow. All right, thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Butch, the Black Dispatch. Famous in this town. Appreciate your time, Unc. I know we got a couple more episodes, a few more stories to go through. Appreciate you again. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And for the whole Big Boss family, have a great holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. You'll be seeing more of us. You'll be seeing more Uncle Butch. Again, appreciate you, Unc. Peace out. Love, Big Boss. Holla at your man. What's happening, family? It's your man, Courtney Robert Brown Jr. Here in Dakar, Senegal. Yes, Big Boss is still in West Africa. We're going to be here for a few more days. And we're having an awesome time here, family. So, you know, we're hooking up with brothers here at the Made in Africa Project. Just had a real positive meeting with the brother who owns a nightclub over here called Dream. He's doing some thing in the film industry, got some studios.
Atlantic Ocean right there.
2021, look forward to some of Big Boss's first projects coming out of the motherland. So we are very excited about that. So anyway, you know, guys, with all that's been going on this year in 2020, we didn't really get a chance to do the 10-year anniversary that we wanted to do for this project, which is what started the whole thing, the whole reason why there's even a YouTube channel and why there was the award-winning documentary Motown Mafia, and all that came with that, and before all of this, the Kingpin's Kid Radio, and now Eddie Jr.'s channel. But this whole thing began 10 years ago. So this is the 10th anniversary of when this project began. It began with this book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. And so I know a lot, I know a lot of you guys, family, you actually know of me or Eddie Jr. or my old man or Fat Man's Legend, and you know it through YouTube. Some of you may have seen the documentary, which, by the way, is available at BigBossFilmworks.com or on Amazon Prime, Tubi TV, or most of your streaming platforms. You can still get the award-winning documentary.
Motown Mafia book, man. It all began with this book. Shout out to Lou Stevens, my partner. You never see much of him because he's usually behind the camera, but he has been the backbone of Big Boss Filmworks since we started this thing, so shout out to you, Brother Lou. But so as I was saying though, if you don't know how, the fact that why me and Eddie have been friends for, you know, all of our lives, Eddie Jr., how his dad and my dad have been friends for all of their lives. The real story on how Eddie Jackson Sr., the fat man himself, how he started and built that $1 million empire. You know, we've attempted to unpack it, but if you really want the story, the in-detailed story, you know, give the book a shout. It's also available on Kindle. It's also a history lesson, you know, like in chapter 1, let's just say in the beginning, you know, you get the whole background in chapter 1 of where Detroit was at in the 50s and 60s, the real story with Black Bottom. A feel of what Detroit was like in 1971, where the Detroit Tigers were doing, what the Pistons were doing, what was going on with the race relations in the city. And then the fact that that was the year that would change the course of the Fat Man's organization and everything. That was the year where he met the Gambino crime family. That was also the year where they had the raid on Hubble, which is still, I believe, standing the largest raid in narcotics history in the city of Detroit. So a lot of history, you know, in this book. And I just wanted to give a shout out. Who else? Michelle Moore, the Essence Award-winning author, Hood Books. Say You Promise Enterprise, Say You Promise Publishing. Shout out to Michelle. She brought this home. You go, family. I'm not an author, so I put together the manuscript. Michelle Moore brought this project home. Anita Flanagan, the editor, Lou's auntie, you know, again. So shout out 10-year anniversary to the book and all the people who played a part in this thing, and it's just really cool, man. And now, you know, if you told us 10 years ago, I might have said, yeah, I'll be in West Africa, but if you said 10 years ago, Courtney, you're gonna have a book road, and then the follow-up book, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you know, not the follow-up to this. Here's the follow-up, Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus. But then, you know, we did come out with another book called Get Your Mind Right, Get Your Money Right, Getting Off Zero. And just where the idea started, man. People have been telling me my whole life that I had lived an interesting life and stuff I had seen. You know, working for my father, just growing up next to Eddie Jackson, seeing their whole rise, fall, and rise again, and now to be over here in Africa, expanding, you know, this Filmwork thing and this content creation to the motherland, hooking up with some brothers. It's just a blessing, man. So we look forward. Want to say thank you again, though. If you don't know, not got the full in-depth story. 10-year anniversary, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. Check it out. You can get it from our website, BigBossFilmworks.com. You can definitely get it from Amazon. And if you have not seen the award-winning documentary that followed up on that, you can definitely check that out on Amazon Prime. So, and Tubi TV, again, all the other ones. And the brothers here are taking good care of us in Senegal. So, a good look, good shout out. Oh yeah, and with the 10-year anniversary, shout out to my man Al Prophet, what he's doing with American Dope out there. You know, Al has been very integral and just been a great assistance. We caught up with Al right when the book was coming out, and he's gone on to do some really big things. And yeah, shout out to Al Prophet, shout out to Cavario, shout out to what they're doing over at American Dope. It's all good. So I ain't gonna hold you guys up, but again, Big Boss Filmworks live, Dakar, Senegal, West Africa, 10-year anniversary book, Kingpin's Kid, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid, Motown Mafia. Thank you all. Appreciate the support. Love you guys. I'll let you, man. Peace.